I have 5 questions for you. The first question is on priorities. If you were elected, what would your top 3 legislative priorities be?
The first is to get a constitutional amendment to get term limits in, and I think the terms need to be changed from 2 years to 4 years for representatives, and 6 years to 4 years for congressmen, as you considered. I think we need to have a recall provision for president, vice president, senators, and representatives. And if you draft that bill, you've got to have it provision for the staff to take out the staff. How's that? Is that better? Okay, sorry. The other provisions that we're going to be looking at would directly go to energy. We need to have an aggressive energy bill. And when I say aggressive, we've got to take all the restrictions off of drilling in our natural resources, not just for oil and gas. We need to be going after solar, wind. We need to have the full complement of energy arsenal available. Right now we don't have that because President Obama has taken off incentives for oil and gas. He's putting everything for solar and wind. I have nothing against solar and wind, but we don't need to stop there. I think the third priority is to go back and reveal and repeal as many of these bills that have come out this year as possible.
Thank you. The second question involves bill review. What do you say to people who are angry that congressmen often do not read the bills they are voting on?
Well, let's look at it from our side. Right now, we have the minority in Congress. And just for example, cap and trade, we'll take that bill. We knew the topics of that bill coming out, but that bill was dropped on our lap at the 11th hour. Okay? Now, at that time, it's going to be very difficult to make a commitment to read through it. I think you have to have a basic philosophy. When these bills are going through committee, there's surrogates there's information that's coming out. It's not like it's boom, all of a sudden, and you have no knowledge of it. What you don't know specifically is what's the division, article, or section. But if it's like cap and trade and you get it at the 11th hour and you know it violates states' rights, it violates the citizens' rights, and it's against the Constitution, you have to do the right thing and vote against it. Okay? Hopefully you have proper time to review these bills as much as you can. I have read the House version of H.R. 3200 every 1,017 pages, and half of that bill is legal minutia that they have in terms of amending the Internal Revenue Act, ERISA, Public Health Services Act, and Social Security Act, and there's, I think by count, and I can't say this is 100%, over 70 different departments and bills that are enacted in this law, and that's what a majority of it is, and then the rest of it is violating the right.
The third question is on health care. What part of the American healthcare system needs reform, and do you support guaranteed health care for every American?
Let me answer the guaranteed health care. The answer is no. It's not a constitutional right. Matter of fact, if you go into the Constitution and you look at the preamble, what does the preamble say? The preamble says that the government is to help promote the general welfare. Okay? It does not say anything about guaranteeing that. Promote, in my definition, is to help lower the barriers to the free market to have it exist. So there's nothing in there that it needs to be a right that's in the Bill of Rights. What we have to do is we have to focus on the barriers right now that are in the marketplace. You have to understand that the way our system is designed for insurance is you've got each state insurance department, they're basically their own king. And the problem that you have is they don't all cooperate. They don't like to play with each other. And you've got some federal laws that are out there that you can do some amending. You can have some things where there are uniform forms for states to have where everybody has access to. Those forms could be amended up or down for coverage, and you've got to get the barriers between the states down. I hear the term 1,300 companies out there. I don't know that there are 1,300 companies. But let's just assume that there is. You don't have 1,300 companies to choose from in this state or any other state. You've got 3 to 5. If you lower those barriers by giving these carriers the access to forms where everybody can say, okay, it doesn't cost me $10 million to do the programming, they will come into other states because there is a greed factor. They want after that premium. They'll come in, that'll help lower the premiums because there's more competition. You're never going to get 1,300, but what if you have 30 or 50 or 60 companies to choose from? It does dramatic things. The other thing we've got to do is we have to have the ability for small businesses and individuals to be able to leverage their buying power. I'm working right now with a group called We the People Health. They're putting together a program we're focused on individuals where we're trying to go out and help them get a large case, to get the cost down like you have with large companies. You can go in and amend some acts out there, the Federal Risk Liability Act, maybe 6, which would allow healthcare to be part of risk retention groups and risk purchasing. So the solutions are there.
Appreciate it. The fourth question is on Constitution. What will you do if you believe a piece of legislation is outside the powers granted specifically to Congress by the United States Constitution?
That's the easiest question you've asked. Vote against it.
Thank you. The fifth question is on term limits. What is your position on setting term limits for U.S. representatives and senators?
I think we kind of let this cat out of the bag. I go back to that original bill. I think this is a discussion we'd have to have. I personally think a 4-year term for senators and for representatives is what they need. I've been into D.C. I've seen the problem that they have, especially on the representative side and the fundraising. It is so perverse in terms of they're constantly fundraising for election that it interferes with the public business. I don't know that you can ever get the money completely out of the system because, unfortunately, to get your message out, it does take money. But we can work on ways where it doesn't interfere with the public business. If they've only got to fundraise on a serious note once every 3 or 4 years, that will have an impact. I think the senator being there for 6 years is simply too long. Whether we talk about a 2 or a 3-year term, that's for discussion. But I think the most should be 12 years if someone's in there, and then get them out. We need new blood. We need new ideas. But part of the problem that we have right now, if you've never been to the U.S. Capitol, it is basically, it's a palace. They get in there, and if you're there for a long period of time, I don't care how good a person you are, how good your intentions are, it will eventually start warping your perspective. And when you're living there for 18, 20 years, such as Chad Edwards has done, you start losing perspective, and you forget about why you were supposed to go there in the first place.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.